Hey there, highly sensitive person, and welcome to this week's episode of Highly Sensitive Club. This is episode 92, and it's the very last episode of 2025. Literally, when this is airing live, it is December 31st, 2025. If you are familiar with my previous episodes, last year I did a very similar wrap up episode for the beginning and end of the year. And this one is a similar flavor with a completely new twist on it. And I am so excited to talk about this with you. My theme for the end of 2025, and you can use this over and over again, but it is particularly relevant at the end of the year moving into a new year, is write your story. This is the 2025 edition, but you can use this literally anytime you want to. This could be for a quarter or a month or a year or a decade. You can go back and use this for any period of time in the past that you want to go back and write an intentional story for yourself about what you're taking from it, what the important things were, and how you want to use it moving forward. This is all part of a workshop that I ran out of pure enthusiasm on the 18th of this month called Write Your Story. It's part lesson, part co working, part reflection exercise that includes some neat tools that I created myself. And I walk you through the process of deciding intentionally what you would like this year to mean or any period of time. I'll give you a quick snapshot of how this process works. And then if you want to do this yourself, it's a free resource on my website. I will put the link in the show notes, and you can go take this right now or anytime during the year and come back to it as you see fit. The first step is to figure out the story you're currently telling yourself about your year. Typically, we reach this time of the year, and if we haven't been intentionally reflecting on our progress along the way, our important milestones, our events, the moments that really shaped our year, then we might be coming into the end of the year thinking that we wasted time, that we didn't do all of the things we wanted to do, that we wanted to take better care of ourselves, or we wanted to make more money, or we wanted to form different relationships and we just didn't meet our goals, or something didn't go according to plan. That is usually what our brain comes up with on default because it's trying to protect us and keep us safe. By talking about all of the things that were hard and difficult or all of the things that didn't go according to plan, your brain is trying to motivate you to do better, which is why we have so many really strict, really over the top New Year's resolutions around this time. Or it's trying to conserve your energy by pursuing pleasure, avoiding pain, and doing both of those things as efficiently as possible. If left to its own devices, our brain will skew towards the negative. We literally have a negativity bias because our brain is trying to protect itself and keep itself alive. So if you have a story that your whole year was full of tough moments and it was the worst year of your life, then your brain is skewing in that direction probably by default because life is 50-50 and it's never all bad. It doesn't have to be a complete dumpster fire, which I will come back to. I want you to take a quick snapshot of what the story is that you're telling yourself about this year or this decade. Maybe it's your personal decade. I see this a lot with milestone birthdays and anniversaries. Our brains love to make meaning out of things. So you might be looking back at your 20s or your 30s or your 40s or your 50s or your 60s and making decisions about what it meant and maybe the regrets that you have or the doubts or the things that didn't go according to plan. You can choose whatever period of time that you want and just capture the story. Then, and this is my favorite part, I'm genuinely very impressed with myself. I came up with almost 50 different resources that you can use to backtrack and look for clues about what actually happened during your year. Looking back on it, we often forget what's happened in a 12-month period, let alone a 10-year period, if you're looking at a whole decade, for instance. We forget things that have happened in the minutia, and we're thinking about the big picture, often skewing towards the negative. By going back through your year and pulling these clues and this actual information, you get a much clearer picture of what you actually did and who you actually were during the year. Again, I'm very impressed with myself that I came up with almost 50 sources. Not all of them will apply to you. I recommend that you choose 2 to 3 sources that really resonate with you and feel like they're a good representation of where you like to spend your time and where you put your energy. And all of that is available in the workshop that I will share in the show notes after this. Once you go back looking for these clues and these hints about what you did during the year, who you were with, the events that you went to, what you had in your life, then you can make a much more informed decision. You're not going off of a vague idea or just looking back anecdotally at something. You're literally looking at information about yourself and your life and making an informed decision about the story that you want to tell yourself. Now, I will share some really amazing examples because I did the exercise in the workshop with the participants. So you can see me co working with you. If you're someone who likes body doubling, or if you like being in a co working space, I will provide you with a cozy playlist, or you can find your own, and you can literally sit and work with me. We will co work together and work through this process so that you have someone holding that space for you, even though I'm not physically there with you live. I will be there following the process. And when I followed this process, I was genuinely surprised. My story was that my year started halfway through and that I had wasted the first 5 months of the year spinning around in confusion and doubt. When I went back through this exercise and used my own tool, I was able to discover that I had been working literally the entire year towards my goals of becoming more decisive, of growing my revenue in my business, and learning to be someone who follows through and believes in myself every single step of the way. I found different structures and I tried some things that didn't work earlier in the year, but the whole time I was working on becoming more decisive, increasing my emotional capacity, and challenging myself to do things outside of my comfort zone in order to grow and improve. Looking back on it now, things really accelerated in the summer, but I was working on it all year long. I've been able to make some huge decisions about my life and my business that I've been sitting on for years and years. I have been creating new workshops, more information. I've been creating new frameworks for the business. I've decided where I want to put my focus in the coming year. I literally doubled my revenue from last year to this year. It's been a very successful year, and I was discounting at least half of it. Now, my story is that I showed up every single month for myself. I learned and I grew each step of the way, and I have become the person that I wanted to become. And I'm continuing to grow. I have a new vision of what that looks like for myself, but I can say with certainty that I have evidence that I put intention into structure, into patience, and into being more decisive, and it paid off this year. I'm really excited about that. I had a very similar situation where a participant did the workshop and discovered they also thought that they were indecisive and that they had trouble making decisions. Throughout the year, it turns out they were very decisive. They had made work decisions, they had made relationship decisions, they had grown and chosen hobbies and programs and ways to learn and inspire themselves that they hadn't considered at the beginning of the year. This was a huge transformational year for them. What a change from thinking you're indecisive to believing that you're actually really good at making decisions that are aligned and in your intuition and in your integrity. I have another participant that was specifically focusing on a challenge that came up later this year and making it mean that the entire year was a complete dumpster fire. And much like previous years where people start sending those gifts around, it felt like they just wanted to brush their hands off and move on. However, by doing this exercise and really looking at the whole year, they were able to discover some patterns that they have about their energy fluctuations and how, when busier times of year start, they have a tendency to get into burnout. Then, as they get into burnout, things start to fall off. But they don't want to focus on the shame and the guilt of noticing this pattern. They're being compassionate. They've decided that they want to feel proud because, in addition to this challenge that really happened, they also discovered that they had a new event or something fun that they did every single month. They set an intention to spend more time with their loved ones and to build those relationships and deepen them. They wanted to grow and learn new things, and they actually did all of those things every single month this year. You don't have to let a single experience define how you see an entire span of time. You get to decide, yes, this thing happened. It really sucked. And I choose to make this a moment that I can be proud of, that I am excited about, that I feel satisfied by, that makes me feel peaceful. That is what this workshop offers. And that's why I want to give it to you for free. This is the perfect time for you to follow through the workshop. It's just an hour of time, and you will get the workbook resource that I created specifically for this workshop completely free. I am really excited to share this because even though our brains can skew by default into that negative space, by choosing intentionally how you want to view this year or whatever time you're working on, you create a completely different vision of who you are as a person. When you think about being that person, whether that's decisive or proud or someone who's resilient and can overcome challenges easily, someone who is constantly investing in their growth and their self worth, someone who values their relationships, someone who's learning to rest or manage their time or their money better, that version of you will build on itself. This isn't an isolated period of time. This is a part of you that has been growing and building from previous versions over and over again. The more intentional you are about the lessons you take from it and the version of you that you've created from this experience and this period of time, the more powerful you will be moving into your future. You've created evidence for yourself with facts and data and actual information about your life and what you did and who you were with that helps you believe in yourself, trust yourself, know that you can do the things that you set moving forward. And even if they don't turn out exactly the way you thought, or you don't meet the goal exactly the way you envisioned, you're still working towards it and you might have achieved it in a different way than you expected. If you're interested in doing the Write Your Story workshop, I want you to go to stephanielynn.com/story. I have that in the show notes, so you can just click the link and follow that through. I will send you a link with the resource, with the cozy playlist, so that you have something that I was listening to at the time, or you can pick your own, and you have the recording of this workshop that you can go back to anytime you like. I am so excited for you to have this moment to intentionally think back on a period of time and decide the story that you want to write about it. You can do it in less than an hour. This is a powerful exercise, and I can't wait to hear how this goes for you. Please leave a comment below and let me know how it went. Or when you sign up for the workshop, you can also send me an email reply and let me know what you got out of it and what you would like moving forward. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this week's episode, and I will see you in 2026. Thanks for listening. If you're ready to take what you learned today to the next level, head over to Stephanie Linn, that's LINN.com, and book a consultation call to get started. I can't wait to see you there, my dear HSB.